Okay, John, that's it started recording. If you want to introduce yourself to the audience, that'd be great.
Hey, it's great to be here today with Barry, the Higher Grind. Um, this is John Carver, also known as at CarverJohns on Twitter and Instagram. And I'm here to talk to Barry about all kinds of interesting stuff today. So we really hope you get something out of it. And subscribe and follow along where applies. Thank you.
Thanks, John, for the introduction. Just before we came on, we were talking about user-generated content. I'm
Right.
the biggest believer in the world in user-generated content. So I've run a marketing advertising agency for about 2.5 years, and that's what I put my bread and butter on. It's cheaper for the client. It's better for interactions because when somebody sees that they've took a picture, it's put on
Right.
Facebook. People like to see just other people doing things.
Right. It
And
lends to
creates-
authenticity. Right.
Yeah, literally everything that you're saying. I'm going to just cut this and send it to my older clients and my clients that I've got just now that tell me that I should pay for a photographer.
Well, user-generated content, we all know it's very important. It's important to brands. But if you're an influencer out there and you want to eventually become someone that can maybe make a living producing user-generated content, you really ought to think about starting out and just doing it. Go to a brand that you like. I'll just pick one. Dip Devices, one of my clients. They got some nice apparatus. They got the Every and of course the Dipper. And there's people out there that are enjoying it. So if you want to get the attention of that brand and maybe someday maybe have a relationship with that brand, start by giving value first. Start by making some good user-generated content. Go to their site. Go to their social media accounts and look to see what they like. Look to see what their style is, whether it's short videos or pretty pictures. There's a lot of ways to get started. And I mean, a lot of people call me and ask me how to get started. And that's what I basically say to them. It's just, it's time that you just go out there and show everyone what you can do and worry about getting paid for it later. I mean, what do you think?
Just what you're saying there, John, is what I've been preaching since like day one. So
Okay.
If I get a client, most of my clients are either based in the restaurant or dental industry. Because those two kind of industries in the UK and Europe don't take advantage of social media as much as what they should. So I focused on them probably about 2 years ago. I would tell the dentists, get somebody to take a picture after they've had their teeth in, so like a before and after picture.
Right.
Get them involved in the process, because people are scared of the dentist, but they want to know what's happening. So if you get them to take a picture, that's them invested in it. They're doing an after picture as well. Even if out of 100 people, only 10 people do it. I think we actually had 3 or 4 people that went on to become social media influencers from it. And they still promote that same dentist who isn't a client anymore, but they promoted that same dentist to this day, just
Right.
because that's where they got their start. Which is, I seen this like years ago about user-generated content, because that's what you like to see on Instagram. When you
Right.
see like a professional picture that's been took, you're just kind of like, scroll by.
Well, yeah, that's the problem. It's almost, you got to make sure you're not too good. You not make it's too perfect, because if you take the perfect shot, people might think that it's something that was sponsored ahead of time. I mean, the funny thing I find about user-generated content, I mean, I've been in and around marketing and advertising since I was 14 years old. I started pretty much full time in my uncle's business when I was a young kid, I guess, in high school. And I always hated high school, but I always enjoyed working in marketing and advertising. But what we've always known is one of the most powerful things is the testimonial. And marketing and advertising professionals have been using testimonials since the beginning of advertising, back when 4 Michelin stars were 4 Michelin tires, if you know that story.
Yeah.
The 4 Michelin tires is the perfect example of content marketing. What it was there was a map and a guide, and Michelin said, well, what can we do that's different that's new to marketing, just thinking outside the box before they even knew to think outside the box. Someone came up with the brilliant idea. Well, said, well, why don't we rate roadside attractions, restaurants, and hotels, so when people are traveling, they'll know what good places that there are. And all along, we're going to be advertising this. This is from Michelin. But what it was valuable content for people that were taking vacation. They could open up this guide and know that that restaurant is probably a good spot to go to. And this one over here might not be as great. And what it evolved into, it used to be you got a rating as a great restaurant of 4 Michelin tires. And they had to make it stars. So when you see that, Wolfgang Puck restaurant or some craziness, and they've got 4 stars, they're actually tires. But that's the first real example of, nationally, at least here in the U.S., nationally successful content marketing. Pretty much the beginning of content marketing. So you think about what's worked for years, what's worked for decades, and just do it again. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, when you try, so I speak to marketers all over the world. Like, I teach different kind of marketing agencies to grow as a consultant. I'll teach businesses to grow. I'll do it as a client. I'll get them on as clients. And
Right.
The wheel's not broke. Marketing and advertising still works the same as it did 100 years ago.
Right. Yes,
Just
it has.
we don't put testimonials. People don't like reading. They like to see a picture. If the
Sure.
picture looks authentic, they're going to buy it. That's
Sure.
the simplest thing to try and get across to people. The reason they put clothes on a person instead of them just putting pictures of a clothes when you go into like a fashion website is because people buy people. It's the same
Absolutely.
thing. It's never changed. And trying to explain
Absolutely.
that, a lot of people
Right.
get confused with social media, like Twitter, Facebook. Just the names they get confused of. They're just taking the real life things at work and putting them on there. That's it. It's simple.
And be consistent.
Yeah,
When if you're going to do something, if you're going to do something and it's going to be once a week, do it once a week. If it's once a month, do it once a month. If it's every day, do it every day. Don't mix it up.
yeah,
Because people that are going to consume your content, or let's just say the people you want to share things with, they're going to come back and visit. If you're sharing good stuff, they're going to come back and visit. And if they come back and visit 3 or 4 times over the course of 5 or 6 days and they don't see anything updated, it'll kind of just get lost in the noise. So you do have to be consistent, try to do your best work, try to be authentic. Don't go out of your way to be something that you're not. And just enjoy it. And then that's how if you're interested in getting the attention of brands, if you're interested of actually working as a professional, like you did, you went to that agency, and you basically said, I want to learn something here, and you took what they offered and you did your best at it. From when I listened to one of your previous podcasts, do I got that right?
Sorry, what one was that?
Well, you had mentioned in one of your earlier podcasts that you had gone and taken a job as a face-to-face salesperson.
Oh yeah. I saw that always when people call it an agency. I'm always like, I know I say it sometimes, but yeah, when I took it from that, I just took the best parts of it.
Right.
Instead of from like, it was a terrible job. Obviously, standing in the rain in Glasgow trying to sell things is terrible.
But it's all about, that's what got you in the door.
Yeah, so that's what kind of started my process from, because I've always loved, like, I'm one of those people that will watch ads in the TV, or when I get a
Sure.
magazine, back in the 90s, I skipped to the ads. Like, I
Right.
love
That's where all
that
the
kind of,
production is.
I love
Yeah.
ads, I love the marketing. I've loved it since I was a little boy, and I didn't know how to get into that industry because, as you know, it's kind of like a closed doors industry. Not as much
Right.
now, people are more open, but back in the day, it was really like you had to get a degree, or you had to know somebody that done it, or if you had the degree, you still had to know somebody that done it to get a good job in it.
I guess I was lucky. I was basically born into it. It was everyone in my family was basically in some part of the printing industry, direct marketing, advertising. So when I moved in with my uncle and aunt, there was really no question what I was going to be doing with my days. School was over by 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and there was no. I went on the school bus into the shop, and I learned and I worked and I learned everything from setting type to stripping film and setting mechanicals and the photography, and never ran any of the presses, but certainly did all the front end. And then when Macintoshes came in the early '90s, I was in there working on them, doing the typesetting and the graphic arts work, not as someone who was paid to do that, but it was there. My functions within the business were more on the business side of it, the sales side, the marketing side, talking with clients. But I always took the time to learn the basic skills for these graphic artists and the people that were doing the photography, to lend a hand to help them out when I wasn't busy doing something else, but also to learn. So any opportunity that you can get inside of or next to or near something where you want to learn or what you want to do, just do everything you can, every opportunity. You might not, it's hard to think of an analogy right off the top of my head, but if you want to be a social media manager, well, then you know what, your account better be tight so you can show people, this is what I do, this is how I do it. Go to my account, check me out. If it's what you're interested in, great. It's something to be confident with, something to be proud of. So that's how it can really start for a lot of people if you want to get into the business, whatever it is. Just get as close to it as possible and just offer value, give your time, give your product, use your skills. And if you're going to get paid for it someday, you'll get paid for it. It's just, you can't go into everything with, well, what's in it for me on day one? You see where I'm coming from?
Yeah, definitely. It's kind of putting yourself out there. So for me, I came from a sports background. I used to be a wrestler.
Okay.
I spent most of my time around the kind of marketing department within the business that I first set up when I was younger. And that's what I just loved, how to advert, how to sell tickets. And I used to help those guys. I was obviously getting paid to wrestle, but I used to help those guys for free. So I would put in maybe an 8 hour day, then go wrestle at night.
Right.
But I loved helping those guys. That's just, you kind of, everybody just wants to get paid straight away, but they don't realise that sometimes it might take 5 years of you having a job that you hate and
Right.
working for free or building an agency at night. You're only getting $100 a month from a client, but you're working well above what that pays. But it's going to pay off in the long run when you get back to it and you go, well, look what I've done for you for this. Imagine what you could get for the larger amount.
I couldn't agree with you more. When I started this whole thing, this whole blogging thing, with my blog, MrStinky'sGreenGarden.com, and the whole at CarverJohns accounts on social media, that was really just as a hobby to learn, to see how it's done. I was like, well, what is this Twitter thing? All right, I'm going to figure it out. And I just sat down and just tried to figure it out. Haven't figured it out yet after almost 8 years, but I mean, I figured out a couple things. You build along the way. It took me, I think it was 16 months to get to the point where I was making $1 per day. 18 months after that, 18 to 24 months after that, I gave up my full-time job to do this full-time. So it took me all that time just to make $30, $31 a month. And then in just about the same amount of time, again, I got a full-time gig. So you kind of have to do the hard work ahead in the beginning. And if you don't make, I mean, if you're making 36 cents a day off some sort of, ad you have placed on a blog somewhere, then that's actually pretty good. So it's kind of hard to get started. Most people I read a statistic about blogs and about people in social media. It was like 80% of the people don't make it through the first 6 months of doing the work. And then of what's left, 80% of them don't make it past 2 years. And then as the longer it goes, the more the drop off. Sometimes if you're just going out there and doing something and being consistent with it and just stay the course, sometimes it just comes to you just because you've been there for so long. Which I wish the best of luck for you. You know, it's hard starting up something like this, getting and building an audience. Of course, I'll promote everything I say from you from now on. So
Yeah,
don't be afraid to tweet.
I'm one of those people that's just kind of hard-headed. So when I first started in marketing, it was just before the kind of boom of social media marketing advertising agencies,
Right.
when everybody thought they could do it. And I would say I started when there was 3 in Glasgow. Now now there's probably like 50.
Sure.
But 2018
Absolutely.
to 2019, I would say there was close to 500, and they would all email me and ask me questions like, "Oh, we're going to put you out of business. We're going to do this," and I was like, "That's great, guys. I'm not the smartest person in the room, but I get up at 4 a.m. every day and I go to bed at 12. I put the hours in every day. That's what that's what I do, and I'm still here. And most of those guys, well, some of those guys work for me now, so it's
Right.
it's just kind of staying the course, and that's my opinion.
Absolutely. It's I love it when people come up and they're like, "Oh, what about your?" I used to have a friend of mine. He goes, "Well, what about the competition?" I'm like, "What competition?" He goes, "Isn't there anyone else out there doing what you do?" I said, "I'm sure there's millions of people out there doing what I do." He said, "Well, what are they doing? And you know, are you watching them and see what they do and then doing what they do?" And I said, "No, I do what I do." So he's like, I don't understand." I said, "Because they're not competition." I'm a big believer that other people that are doing what you're doing, seek them out, share their great content, follow them, be a fan, because you got to be a fan before you can get a fan. And go out there, and if they write something interesting or they post something interesting on social media, and it's actually good stuff, just go ahead and share it. Make a nice little comment on it. Give them a couple impressions. Throw it out there a little bit for them because, you know, all boats come up in a rising tide. So if you can have a network of people that you know from this online experience where you promote them and you support them, someday they'll promote and they'll support you. And as time goes by, they're going to get bigger and you're going to get bigger. And then each of you are have a big account and you got a nice little audience and you're still sharing each other's stuff. It's just nothing but better. It's like the older I get, when I like to travel and I'll stay with friends, and the older I get, the better the houses are that I stay in. I mean, I used to stay on my friend John's couch in his, I don't know, couple 100 square foot apartment. It was tiny.
Hmm.
And now the last time I went up there, I had the second floor of the house all to myself, about 1,400 square feet. And it's just like that. You know, the older you and your friends get, the better the places are to stay. So my point is go ahead and if you go on to Twitter, which is pretty much my mainstay, and you discover somebody that's making content or they're trying to do it or you see what they're doing, you can figure it out. Well, give them a little bit of support for nothing. Well, what do I get out of it? I get nothing. I have people that I retweet on the regular daily on Twitter just because I like them. I like what they're doing. They're nice and consistent. They're not nasty people screaming and yelling about stupid stuff. So why not support them? And then next thing you know, they grow and they support you back. That's always been my attitude when it comes to you're entering a space, you're somewhat entering someone else's playground. So be nice. Don't be a jerk. And
Yeah,
that's my advice for the day.
I totally agree. I always say there's enough pie for everybody. Like
Right.
you don't have to be the next Amazon. Everybody can
Right.
get a slice of the pie. Obviously, it's nice to have what Jeff
Yeah.
Bezos has got, but you don't
Yeah.
need to. You know, everybody has to have you you can just everybody can share. And for me, it's not about money and stuff like that. It's about leaving something behind for my kids and about being happy, just having kind of freedom because I have a real fear of that kind of normal job that makes me
Right.
feel weird.
Right. Nah, I'm 100% with you on that. That's exactly, I like the last time I had a day off was October 30th, 2012. It's the last time I had a day that I did not work, as in work on any of this stuff. And it's like that's insane. I work 7 days a week. I'm on the computers constantly. I have two computers, two monitors sitting in front of me, an iPad, a mobile phone, the whole nine yards, and they're always on. But it's what I enjoy doing. As manic and tedious as the whole thing is, it's actually kind of fun because it's you doing it, you being authentic, you sharing, you seeing some success come back, and then every once in a while some crazy person contacts you and they want you to do a podcast, and I think it's pretty cool, you
Um,
know.
I totally agree. Like I'm the same. I don't remember a day that I've had off. It just I just work, but it's not really work because like even if I'm sitting watching something on Netflix with my fiance, I'll be on the phone, sending a few emails or
Sure.
chatting ads. I'm all like, well, the best thing about advertising and marketing, time off is still time on because just daily life you can turn into an ad. So
Right.
it's a real fun job for me, and it doesn't feel like work. Sometimes I sit at my computer, I'll get there at 6 in the morning, and before I know it, it's 10 at night, and I'm like, what's happened?
Well, I'm not that bad. I try to take breaks. I try to force myself to do, like right now I'm working through my house doing renovations on the whole place. So I'll work on my renovation for an hour, hour and a half, come back, do some work, go off, do the dishes, come back, do some work. So all day long I'm going from one thing to back and forth and the other thing. But it's actually enjoyable because I can travel anytime I want. I mean, these phones now, it's just amazing. I can just continue to do my work and what I do as I get up from my desk here, in the airport when I land. That's the only problem is when I take long flights. I usually go out to Vegas twice a year for the Champs trade show. Of course, they've been canceled because of all this crazy nonsense. But I was just out there at the beginning of March that we had the last show was the Champs trade show, and the worst part for me is that 4.5 hours on the airplane from Atlanta to Las Vegas because there's all kinds of stuff going on and I can't even sit there and retweet it, and I can't just comment on anything. And it's funny, it's like if there was actual decent Wi-Fi in the sky, I'd probably be on the phone the whole time on this stupid airplane. So at least it's a couple times a year that I get to take a nap. But it's a fascinating way to make a living because you can just do it from everywhere at any time as long as there's a connection. It's just insane.
You definitely, especially recently, I've been reading quite a lot of articles that's talking about with obviously the global pandemic going around just now, is
Right.
the death of the office. So like the offices were dying already because you can do an office job in the house anyway,
Right.
and this is kind of put people are saying this is a final nail in the coffin. So if there's another big recession that comes up or a depression, it's going to be like that'll be offices gone because people are just going to want to work from home if their jobs aren't secure. If you're
Right.
at home, you can do your work in your
Right.
whatever you
Uh,
want to wear. You don't need to put clothes on that day to send emails. You can do what you want.
Right. Well, that's the funny thing, though. I don't know if everybody out there is built to work from home. It actually takes a lot of discipline because there's always plenty of things to do at home. There's
You see,
always plenty to do and to distract you, and you do have to keep your eyes on the prize. So not everybody has that kind of discipline, but it can be learned.
Yeah, I've been noticing that as well with some of my friends who have normal jobs. When they're working at home, they get distracted so easy. They,
Yeah.
they take more breaks, they watch more movies. For me, it, I'm extremely disciplined, so I've got like a set time to get up. I need to make my bed every day. I have to
Yeah.
get a certain amount of emails. I go to the gym to do a certain amount of exercise. I'm like the most disciplined person. You'd probably call me like a workaholic with whatever
Well,
the schedule.
but it's kind of required if you're going to work from home. You can't, like, I don't set my alarm clock anymore. I just get up when I get up. But when I get up within 20 minutes, 15 minutes, my machines are on and they're logged in, and I'm logged into, 7 or 8 different social media accounts for different entities. So, I mean, there's just, you have to learn to be disciplined. You have to learn how to multitask, where I'm listening to something and I'm doing something else, because I have like a real estate client. So every morning I have to go on to the MLS and I got to see if there's any new listings, price changes, or sales. And it's just this little project that I picked up about 10 years ago. And it's a great little account, and they've done really well. Um, but what else I'm doing while I'm going through the MLS, there's something else I'm doing. I'm listening to a podcast. I'm catching up on the news. I'm doing all number of different things at the same time. So the better you get to doing at least, 2 things at a time, you can really shave the hours off the tasks. Because remember, you're not spending an hour in the car or on public transportation going to and from work. Sometimes, I mean, I used to have a commute that was an hour and a half in the car on a good day each way.
Mhm.
That's 15 hours a week. What I can get done in 15 hours is quite a lot. I can do a lot for a client in 15 hours in one week. So you do have to realize that if you're going to work from home, you kind of have to throw that 15 hours into the mix. You can't just count that as part of your whole day as if you were driving into an office or taking public transportation. So you got to be careful that you're not working from like 10 to 3, or, like, oh, I only worked 5 hours today. Well, maybe you should have put a few more in. I mean, I don't want to sound like the evil taskmaster, but if you're going to do it, do it. Don't half-ass it. If you're going to half-ass it, have another job and half-ass it for fun. But if you're serious that you really want to do this and make a living out of it, you got to do it. I have a whole list of stuff that I can't get done. So I'm a little bit of a hypocrite because, believe me, I got a whole list of stuff to do that I just don't have the time to get to. But such is life, you know what I mean? Someone's got to walk the dog at some point.
Yeah, I think as well as just people just when they come out of that kind of office environment, like you were saying, you're traveling to your job, then you're spending 8, 9 hours, whatever it is at your job, then you're traveling back. People get too used to that, so
Right.
then when they do work at home, they get lazier. But if I put in, so for me, be doing, I'll be recording a podcast as I'm sending as I'm sending emails,
Sure.
and also as I'm doing other things as well. So I, if I just have to do one thing in a day, I get too bored. I think I've got like ADHD or something like that.
Yeah.
So I need to do like so many things.
I
I
think
love
it's
to
a
keep.
requirement.
Yeah, I love when it's everything's kind of there's so many fires to put out in one day. I feel happy, but when nothing's going wrong, I'm like, what's happened? Does anybody want
Right.
to say anything? Have we got any more work happening? But I think it's just the transition for if people were trying, anybody listening to this is trying to transition from having a normal position to being like self-employed or their own boss. It's definitely patience, discipline, and putting the work in. Like you're not going to get anywhere if you don't put the work in. If you're just going to
Right.
send two or three emails a day and sit down and watch Netflix, you're going to get that result because you're barely doing anything.
And you know what else? If you have the situation where someone's paying you to do a job in social media or in the work that you want to do, go ahead and give them a little extra, go a little further, be a little better. There's no better way to survive as a freelancer or someone that's working from someone else in a remote fashion than just be really good, so that when I send my invoices, I'm knocking on wood. I have a client and I love them to pieces. I send them the invoice and they're literally putting the check in the mail that day. I'm seeing a check in the mail 3 days later from the other side of the country. And that to me is like them respecting my work. There's no question that they appreciate what I do. And that's kind of the way I like it. I say to clients all the time, I don't do contracts, because if you don't want to pay me anymore because you don't like my work anymore, I don't want to be doing the work for the first place. If you don't like it, then what's the freaking point? If it's not working, what's the point? So I'm not going to hold anything over anybody's head like, oh, I've got a contract, you got to continue to pay me whether I work or not. Nah, that's not a good way to enter into a relationship. It's kind of ballsy, I guess, or a little, you got to have a little chutzpah, but you can't just nail down a client. You got to go further for them. So if someone's paying you to do some task in social media and it requires 2 hours a day, well, you know what? Put in an extra half an hour. Why not?
Yeah, for me, I tell the guys that I have kind of on the team the same thing. Like, if you've got the privilege to be able to get paid for something that you love doing, because we've all had those terrible jobs.
Yes.
If you're getting paid for something that you love doing, go that extra mile.
Yeah.
Like, put that little bit extra in. The worst thing about being in Europe is everybody expects American results on social media,
Right.
but they're quite European with pay. So when you send them an invoice, it's like maybe 3 or 4 days later you'll get it into your account. They'll kind
That's
of
good.
dally with the payment, but they'll be like, sometimes it could even be 2 weeks. They'll be like, yeah, I'm definitely going to pay, but I'm just waiting until I get to the bank. And it's just hurry up and
Yeah.
pay.
If I have to chase you to get paid, that means either you can't really afford my services or you're not respecting me. And, show me a little bit of respect. Don't make me chase you down. Now, I had a client, they're not my client anymore, but it was a good thing when we closed doing business with each other. But I had a client, he would literally just forget to pay me. I don't know if it's because of the nature of the industry that I'm in, but he would just forget, and it would go like 3 months. I would send him an invoice, and it would be this huge invoice, and it'd be, oh my God. And he would like contact me. Oh my God, I totally forgot. Sending it right away. And there was nothing malicious about it. But fortunately, I kind of understood the guy. He was super busy. He had so many balls in the air. I mean, I understood what he was going through. He's this CEO, and he just had a lot going on. But it would be funny because he would go, 30, 90 days. And I'm not a rich guy. It wasn't that easy.
Yeah.
And normally I would be like, dude, you're disrespectful. You're a prick. I'm done with you. I don't need your nonsense anymore. And what you can do as the employer on the other end is show the appreciation by paying your freaking bills, man, because it's annoying. Now, I don't know about the European work ethic or what the Europeans think of the American work ethic, but I think you should just have your own work ethic and be your own best, and just know you're the best at what you do, and you do everything you can to be the best. And if there's someone else out there doing it better than you, well, then see what they're doing. So maybe you can pick up a tip from them. Maybe they got something to say. Reach out to them. Does that make sense? I mean,
Yeah,
why not?
definitely. It's I think when you have those types of clients as well, it's just part of business. Something you have to deal with, and
Yeah,
it's
sometimes.
how you do. Obviously, you try now get rid of not get rid of them, but you try and either have that conversation with them quite early, or if so. For instance, I had a large kind of restaurant chain that would never pay on time,
Mm,
and it was because the person who in charge was literally hands on with everything in the business, from like the cleaner all
right,
the way to the accounts, everything. So I was like,
right,
I used to go, do you want me to just set up a direct debit with Visa? And he's like, no, I want to pay it this way. And I was like, right, no problem. He's like, just send me 8 text messages. I was like, look, I'm not going to send you 8 text messages a day. It's it's not going to work out. Like, I've not
right,
got time to text you every day about having to get a payment. I'm not going to chase it. So we
right.
went our separate ways, but he's eventually, I think he's coming back on in June, and
Well,
he's setting up a direct debit. He's getting everything sorted. He's actually kind of closed most of these stores down. So he's took the load away, realised there was a problem, and then he's coming back on. So it's pretty.
I have an answer for you. I have the perfect answer for a guy like that. It's called a retainer.
Yeah,
Do
yeah.
you know how retainers work?
All my clients, I only deal with people that are on retainers because
Right,
like staffing costs and stuff like that. So
right,
if you're one of my clients, you have a specific particular person in my team,
right.
and because they need paid, they've got mortgages.
Yeah,
We always
sure
work
they
with
do.
because my team come above anybody, and
Right.
I treat them like they're my best friends. So if a client's cheeky to them, if a client misses a payment, it's not hurting me, it's hurting my team. So then that makes me want to
And
like
at least if
I'll
you're getting,
be
at
able
least
to,
you're getting a little up front, you got a little bit of a buffer there. And that's really what you have to have out
yeah,
of respect
definitely,
for your employees.
yeah, but especially like I was saying, respect for like my team and stuff like that is to make sure
Right.
that they're going home every month and paying their bills, doing what they love to do, instead of from stressing, looking for another job, worrying
Right.
about where things are coming from. So that's what I always kind of respect for them.
Right. Because that's where their extra time is going to go. Their extra time is going to go to looking for another job instead of just doing a little better. And in the end, the tide goes down
Yeah,
and
and
everybody sinks.
definitely, and I think as well if you build a strong foundation. So
Hmm.
when I first started doing this, it was just me in my room, a
Yeah.
couple of desks and a camping chair, and about a 10-year-old laptop, and I just started doing. I was calling people to. I actually used to start calling people to do. Do you need anything done? That was just doing my cold call pitch. Do you need anything?
Right.
Anything at social media, cleaning, whatever you need, I can do it. And
Yeah.
then I went into like when I started getting a footing, I was like, okay, so I can actually do a marketing agency and a cleaning business and have them all separate, which is it's good to have those kind of things going now.
Yeah. Right.
The one thing that we're asking everybody is how is Corona, COVID, whatever you want to call it, affecting your business just now?
Well, when I was out in Vegas, I talked with four potential clients. Of those four, three of them were a lock. I mean, 100%, no question. The fourth one, because to rewind, basically, I go out to the shows and I'm looking for the unique, the cool, the special. Just another bond company. I don't know. It's a piece of glass. But I'm always looking for something cool and unique. So I had these four. I had them on my list. Um, Three of them were just a cinch. Just they were going to happen. And the fourth one, I give it 60-40 to my favor that it was going to happen. I come home March 1st, and the whole coronavirus thing explodes. Contact the clients, and only one of them went with me. Only one of them went. and the others were just in a situation of, we don't know what's going to happen. We got people that were laying off. We don't know. I don't know. It's because no one knew what was going on. Everyone was like, ah. Now, the funny thing is, all of my B2C clients, my business to consumer clients that are marketing and advertising themselves on social media right now, over the last 60 days, I guess because everyone was shut up in their house and had nothing better to do, I'm seeing double sales with these clients. Their sales have doubled and doubled and a little more than doubled in one case. So basically, as far as how has it affected me, it's been good for my clients, my social media clients that are going B2C through social media, and they're e-commerce stores on the web. Um, I got a bunch of money from the federal government for some, not a bunch, but a little bit for various nonsense. And all things being equal, I would like to have picked up those other clients because I could just use like one or two more clients because it's kind of, yeah, I could just use them just to keep it interesting. Um, Other than the loss of those potential clients, it's actually been kind of good for me because all my existing clients are like, oh yeah, we're selling like crazy. So it's actually been, I don't know, I hate to say it, but good for me.
Yeah,
I know
I
it's
think
kind of crazy, but
it's the same here. Like this, when this kind of started, I was so busy before that I didn't have time to actually sit down and. So I tried to do this podcast last year, then I got really, really busy, and it
right.
just didn't have consistent time. And I was like, you know what, I'm probably just being silly. I'm not going to get it done. Then now I've actually got so much time. I'm like, well, this is great. I can sit down. I enjoy talking to people and learning new things. So being able to sit down and talk to people like yourself, or I had a gentleman on who was he grew cannabis for like the medical industry and sells CBD and stuff like that.
Okay.
It's a massive farm, which is I would never have spoke to somebody who has a cannabis farm in America if I
True.
wasn't doing that.
Right.
So it's good to be able. It's gave me like that opportunity, and it's also for like you're saying for clients, like business to consumer. It's insane. People are just as if they're just in the house buying 24 hours a day.
Yeah. But for me, it's I had a friend of mine. He says so he asked me the same question, and I said, well, basically for me, the only difference is there's no paper towels at the supermarket. For some reason, since the beginning of this pandemic, people have been hoarding paper towels, toilet paper, and like facial tissues, Kleenex.
Yeah,
And it boggles the mind that why do they need all of these paper products if the stores were normally able to supply demand and have a little left over? After 8 weeks of hoarding toilet paper, why do you keep buying toilet paper so there's none on the shelf? I mean, my sister sent me a case of it off Amazon, but my goodness, people, stop hoarding toilet paper and paper towels for goodness sake. So
yeah. The one thing that I
that's
always
all that affected me. That's it.
I get the Kleenex and stuff like that. I just don't get the toilet paper because I don't think you're going to be running to the toilet with explosive diarrhea if it's like a kind of cold flu.
I don't
But
know, man. I think it's just people just panicking, being in fear. I mean, you hear what the media says, and if you actually, I spend my time, if I'm going to look to see what's going on in the news, I'll go to five or six different sources and just see what they're talking about, and it's amazing. Just the farthest of separations in opinion, farthest of separations in facts. One is saying they're overestimating the numbers. One is saying they're underestimating the numbers. They all have what they would refer to as proof, and they're all like, they look at this, and this one said that, and it's like you don't know who's telling you the truth anymore. So that's where it almost comes. We go all the way back to the beginning of our conversation and say, I think that somehow in this world there might be the formula that success is in direct correlation with authenticity and not just spouting off nonsense that you heard or going crazy over the headline. Read the story, not just the headline. Get within touch of, get in touch with reality a little bit because these people are just going nuts. I'm in North Carolina. I mean, it's like there's people still walking around with masks on their face, but I mean, we have in my county, which is a large county here in the southeastern corner of the state. Um, we had like 38, 40 cases, something like that. So I don't know. I guess from my perspective, this has all kind of been. I guess it would be different if I lived in New York. I'd have a different opinion, but from my world, I just don't say it.
Yeah,
I mean,
if you know anything about the UK, you'll know that there's 4 different countries, and the 2 biggest ones are Scotland and England.
right.
If you ever want to see blatant propaganda, just look at a news article that's put out in England and then a news article put out in Scotland. There'll be
Okay.
totally different wordings, just to make sure that, well, for most of the time, is to make sure that Scotland seems worse off than England.
Sure.
We've got 5.6 million people in the whole of Scotland, which I know is totsy, but we've only got like 3,000 people that have had coronavirus,
That's
and I
good.
think it's like 2,000 people have died. Like the whole of Scotland, literally, I know one person that had it, got sick, and they're
Okay.
okay. Like I don't know anybody that's died from it. I don't know,
Good.
and it's then in England, obviously, so the
It's the
UK got it.
whiskey. It's
I,
it's
th-
it's it's that good old Scotch whiskey. That's why,
I think it's
nobody's getting sick. They're all what do you call it? They're cleaned out from the inside.
but the first
No,
thing that was kind of sorted out in Scotland was pubs and bars and stuff like that started doing deliveries of alcohol to your house.
that's
So
nice.
that explains what's happening in Scotland. But
Huh.
England's got more cases, so they've got like 35,000 people, with like 35,000 people have died in England. So it's really high down there. And up
Okay.
here, we're still in lockdown. Our lockdown is extended. It gradually opens up.
Now, what does that
And
mean, lockdown? What I mean, you
just
can't leave the house?
no, we're allowed to stay in, we're allowed to go out to exercise or go for like a walk and go to the shops and stuff like that. Just try and stay away from people as much as possible, stay in as much as possible. But
Okay.
at the end of this week, we're allowed to kind of go out more, start going to shops a little bit more, but still need to keep our distance. And it gradually changes right up till like August. But the difference again between Scotland having a first minister and England having the prime minister is England are opening
Right.
up in like days. They're just opening everything in like 10 to 20 days. So it's a really fun thing to see the person like well, that we don't know what to believe.
Yeah, it's just crazy because I haven't had to wear a mask or anything.
No,
Although here's the thing for me. When I went out to the Champs Trade Show, instead of them handing out like rolling papers and lighters at the front door when you walked in, they were handing out little bottles of Perel of the hand sanitizer. And the funny thing for me is in my travel bag that I carry on with my computer and everything in it, I've had a thing of hand sanitizer in there for the last 5 years. I've had hand sanitizer in my car for 5 years. In this whole pandemic thing, I haven't had to buy any hand sanitizer because I already had it. So maybe the result of this is the people will start like, I don't know, washing their hands. What a great idea.
yeah, that was one of the things that freaked me out when it was like wash your hands, and I was like, does nobody else wash? Why do we need to tell people to wash
Right,
theirs? I've
right.
I've shook people's hands at business meetings. What the hell?
Yeah, man. I'm telling you, and it's just like it's because people are filth pigs. That's all. They just don't think about it. I'm not like a germ phobic or anything, but I mean, when you travel through the airport, you got to understand. There's a lot of, and I don't take a lot of flights, but I'll take a half a dozen flights a year on a normal year, and I take a 2,000 mile driving trip a couple times a year as well up the coast to see friends and family. But you know, you kind of keep it clean as you're going. It means you got to realize there's thousands and thousands of people touching that door handle. So I
Yeah,
don't know. Maybe from all this, we'll have a little bit of a cleaner world, and maybe less of us will get sick in the future. Maybe it's a good thing just for us to clean up our act a little bit.
definitely. Plus, it's obviously good for the cannabis industry in America. It's pretty much doubled in sales since the start of the coronavirus.
Yeah, I don't know what that's about. Maybe it's just because all the black market dealers couldn't get out of the house or something. I don't know. But I'm not in a legal state, so we're not gonna admit to anything while I'm here.
It's not legal in Scotland either, but I can
I
walk
mean,
out
how long do you think?
and in the UK. Well, Amsterdam's looking at kind of closing it to uh, closing it to visitors and foreigners. So I don't
Right.
think in the UK it will be anytime soon. But then again, American cannabis grower has just bought the UK's only medical cannabis growing business.
Okay.
So I think the Americans will probably push it through, which is a good thing. Not complaining about Americans. I like when they push things through quickly because then I
Oh,
can
okay. I
enjoy
see. So
cannabis sitting.
finally, it looks like the Americans might do something good. You know,
I would say you
is
always
that
do
what you're
something.
saying?
You have the best McDonald's.
Oh,
You
thanks.
have the
Okay, there it is. All
you have
right.
the best kind of fast food.
Uh-huh.
I don't coming from like Scotland when like a large is like an American small. When I go to America, I'm always like, this is great. And then not just beer like this all the time, or you go and get like beer and it's a huge glass of beer. I'm like, oh, this is great. Beer's not as great, but still.
Hey, man, I got one question for you. Sprechen die Deutsch? You know what I mean? Sprechen die Deutsch is German for do you speak German?
Yeah, I know, but I don't.
Right. And there's a reason you don't. But
we
you
could
know,
ar- we could we could argue that one
yeah.
till
But
the end of time. But
right.
no, I definitely think in the UK, I don't think it's going to be maybe 10 years, 20.
You think?
Yeah, yeah,
Wow.
definitely. Medical, I think probably will be like 5 years, but
Wow.
recreational still a long time away. Like,
Yeah. I think that's probably this the same timeline for the rest of America to kind of get on board. Probably within the next, like you said, 4 or 5 years, medical would probably be available in most states. Because remember, there's a states' rights issue at
yeah,
hand. So then each state kind of has the right to kind of say how they're going to roll with it, even though it's still under federal prohibition. So the strange thing is, if I go out to Las Vegas and I stop by a dispensary or a rec shop and I pick something up, I'm actually breaking federal law. I'm in possession of something that is illegal federally, but not in the state of Nevada. So it's kind of weird. By rights and by law, if there was a DEA agent standing there and I come walking out of that shop, that DEA agent, which is a federal agency, actually, I don't know if it would probably be a jurisdictional issue, but they would actually be able to arrest me for possession of a controlled substance that is federally prohibited. So it's just kind of weird in this country. And then one of the other things is banking. A lot of these pot shops, they're dealing in cash. They're not allowed to take credit cards. They can't even have bank accounts, so they're paying things in cash. And anytime you got that much cash rolling around, there's two things: you can't track it that well, Mister Taxman, and it kind of makes you vulnerable for armed robbery. So, and we've had cases of that in this country. So it'll be nice when it kind of they figure it out, but probably like England, like you're saying, 5 years for medical and probably 10 years for recreational in most of the states.
Yeah, I think, especially here with banking as well, is CBD companies struggle to get bank accounts.
Is that right? Okay. That's less of a problem here.
It's getting more frequent that you'll see them get them, but there is still ones that I know that won't be able to get it, and it's the literally medical licensed CBD agencies, and people are like, "Oh, banks will go, no, you can't do it," so they're just dealing cash, which is extremely dangerous. Like you says, the tax person can't keep track of it, and also it's it's literally, if you've got this amount of cash just sitting around, it's
Right.
not great.
Right. Well, let me ask you
Because
something. So CBD isn't readily available in Scotland and Great Britain?
it is now, you can get it anywhere, but it's not regulated, so
Okay.
you don't know where you're getting it from. So a lot of times is
Right.
so if you go into a health shop and you buy CBD vitamins, sometimes you might get a really sore belly, or you might get like a sore head, and it's because
Right.
it's like the chemical version of CBD instead of from the natural version of it.
Oh no, you don't want that. You want whole spectrum,
Yeah, it's a
full spectrum stuff that is carrying some of the other cannabinoids as well.
yeah. I don't get why they just don't regulate everything, because especially being high, it's no harm to anybody. And like the article you shared earlier, more people are changing from um, drinking alcohol to
Right.
cannabis
Right.
because it's a lot more friendly. There's no really a hangover, and you just giggle away.
Well, actually, I got something interesting here. I posted a photo on my Instagram account at CarverJohns. Um, and it's CBG pre-rolls. Have you ever heard of CBG? It's cannabigerol or something along those lines. But yeah, it's the top picture on my Instagram account right now. These are really nice. A friend of mine that I met out in Las Vegas produces these, and they're legal in every state, and it's smokable flower. These happen to be in pre rolls, and the feeling or the outcome after you partake, it's kind of an uplifting, kind of happy, but you're not high and you're not couch locked, and it's hard to describe, but it's a nice experience. So I'm telling you, if you ever see CBG, give it a try. It's going to. I think it's going to turn out to be as accepted and as publicized as CBD. It's just going to take a little while. And same with CBN, but the problem with CBN is another cannabinoid. Um, is it's really hard to get your hands on it. You have to almost age THC laden cannabis and age it for a long period of time, and then this CBN seems to come out of nowhere. But that certainly, I think CBG is something that you ought to keep your eyes open for. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think that, see, like all the like kind of cannabis, we've just been allowed to get CBD probably in the past year or two, been like available everywhere. So I think all the
Okay.
like kind of will be coming out in the next year or two, hopefully. But you know what, COVID-19's kind of slowed everything down, so that's
Yeah, it's kind
what.
of freaked everybody out.
So we're
But
coming up for the hour mark. Is there anything you want to kind of finish the podcast off on?
well, no, I think I'm good. I appreciate you taking the time. This is kind of fun having a conversation like this, and pretty much anytime, man. If you ever want to have a conversation again, um, on just about any subject, if it comes down to marketing, advertising, and especially social media, I'm your guy. And make sure you post it to Twitter, and I'll give it a retweet and see if we can get a couple people to listen.
Yeah, everybody's going to. I'll put all your links and stuff in the description below, and it'll be available on YouTube. It'll be on Twitter, Facebook, all the kind of normal stuff.
Okay.
I'll find the next couple of weeks as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to end the podcast just now,
All right.
and I'll
Cool.
talk to you in 2 minutes. Yeah, so if you just hold on for 2 minutes, John, I'll talk to you in 2 minutes.
All right, bud.